Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So, the more and more we move forward in this hobby, we move forward in investing into Pokemon, the more evident it becomes to me that new people are entering the hobby every single day. And for someone like me that is focusing on Pokemon investing, I also realize that there are new investors walking into the hobby every single day, interested in the same things that I am. Um,
Now, one thing I forgot to include, and I obviously forget to include in many of my videos, I do have a Discord. The link is in the description of every single video I make. In this Discord, my goal is to help as many people as I can. If you need any kind of advice that I can help you with, I will. If you need just to talk, conversate, maybe brainstorm into investments, into whatever you want to talk about, just anything at no cost to you. You can come into the Discord. We talk. The people there understand that this is what I'm there for as well. So they're in there for the same exact reasons. Of course, nothing in this video should be considered as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, but I would like to help if I can.
And so I think that it only makes sense for someone like myself and maybe many others to just continue to help others and help each other out and just help maybe guide others to make the right choices or make better ones as we are doing already in our journey here, right? And it just makes sense to me to just start somewhat of a little guide for beginners, and hopefully this helps you out and helps you get started and just maybe helps you in the long run, right? So of course, just like most people that are entering the hobby, becoming investors, I would say I would have to assume that they were someone like me and they loved Pokemon growing up. You know, it was all nostalgic, and for that reason itself, we believe in the product, right? There's no way that you're gonna invest into anything. You know, for example, like Bitcoin. If you didn't believe in Bitcoin, you wouldn't believe in it as well. And for that reason alone, I'm also a believer, a big believer in Pokemon, and for that reason, I feel comfortable investing into it. Of course, it is one of the biggest IPs in the whole world, and that's another big reason why you could have much more confidence in it. Uh, but yeah, let's get started into a little bit of the basics, right? Like, for example, like what are the best products to invest in? Uh, for sure, top tier product is a booster box. Booster box is the top tier. You know, none come close. Second to that, I would say are Pokemon Center ETBs. But Pokemon Center ETBs, you should have like a asterisk or a big hyphen next to it, right? And I'll explain that in a little bit and as to why I think that that is. But we're gonna stick more to booster boxes, right? We're gonna talk about booster boxes for the most part, and so we're gonna get started with that. So booster boxes, I think you should understand why booster boxes are the top tier investments before you even invest into it. You should know what you're investing into and why. And so the biggest reason why is because Pokemon booster boxes have a built-in scarcity over time. It has something that I would call a natural supply decay that equals out to long-term appreciation. And so how is that scarcity exactly affected when it comes to booster boxes? First off, it appeals to everyone. It appeals to every collector, every type of vendor slash seller. It doesn't matter what it is. It appeals to everyone. First off, collectors are always chasing big cards. The biggest chance or the highest probability of you obtaining a specific kind of chase card is most likely a booster box that obtains 36 packs, right? And so you also have sealed collectors like myself that are investors. They like to display their products. Sealed collecting is a very big thing in the hobby. And so it would look something like this. It's beautiful. It's in an acrylic. When you have them all displayed, it actually looks immaculate. I love staring at my sealed collection. It looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. And so that's one of the biggest reasons you'll see people, if you watch, for example, Plumber, he has that beautiful wall in the background, a ton of booster boxes, many valuable booster boxes that he has protected in these acrylics, right? So sealed collecting is a very big deal, and I mean they look beautiful. I mean I think it speaks for itself, right? Next, I would say is also a rip and shipper. Rip and shipping is going to be a big thing, right? 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line. I showed you guys the Destined Rebels booster box. There's going to be a time where a rip and shipper is going to say, "Hey guys, we have a big box break. We have a Destined Rivals booster box for sale. We're going to be selling each packs at whatever cost, and people are going to be chasing that amazing Team Rocket's Mewtwo, whether it be the Moltres in it or whatever it may be. But they're going to be having sales just like these. Rip and shippers are going to be big time buyers of many of these booster boxes that are going to create nostalgia and just create hype around a certain product they have, and just boom in their sales, right? It's going to just be like a big event. It's going to be somewhat like a party. It just makes the event, right? The next thing is a vendor at a card show. Vendors love to have these vintage boxes. Eventually, what's modern now will one day be vintage. You can call it ultra modern, you can call it middle age modern, whatever. You can give it whatever title name you want. But in reality, the truth is that eventually sets become older and older. We have Scarlet and Violet era just ended, right? We're in the Mega Block. Sword and Shield feels modern to a lot of people, but in reality, there's Sword and Shield boxes that came out 4 years ago, right? That were printed 4 years ago. 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, when we're talking about investing into Destined Rivals and holding it for 3 to 5 years, that box that was printed 4 years ago is not going to be 7 years old. And it's no longer going to be considered just modern, right? It's not going to be anything like that. And so for reasons like those, vendors will want them as well. So for those reasons, and probably many more that I'm forgetting, booster boxes are the most desired products out of all the Pokemon TCG products that are available. So there's one more thing I do want to touch up on, like I said before, and those are Pokemon Center ETBs. Once again, very displayable. People love them. I love them. They're very investable at the moment, but they have not been proven in history. They don't have the time. They haven't existed as long as a booster box has. So nowhere near. These are pretty new products that have been out in the last few years, but they do have exclusivity to back it, right? They have the Pokemon Center stamp. Some of them they even look a little different. That Pokemon Center stamp is probably comparable to a first edition stamp. They're very limited. You can only get them from the Pokemon Center, and they're not printed to demand. They just print a certain amount and they don't sell them anymore after a certain amount of time, right? And so for that reason, they may be investable in the future. They just don't have the proven time in history. But in my opinion, it is worth the gamble to buy these at MSRP if you can, or maybe a little above MSRP. And if you can get into them early on, I think it would be a great play for a long-term investment. But at the moment, I can say, and I'm pretty sure it's something that people can't disagree on, that it just hasn't had the time. But a lot of people, like myself, do believe in it. But that's just something I wanted to put out there, but it is not what we're going to be focusing on. Right, so I did want to just touch up on a few things like that. There are other investable products, maybe a booster bundle for really good sets are worth having as well. But the lower tier items are only investable for those really top tier sets, right? Like you see people investing into 3-pack blisters, sleeve blisters of Evolving Skies, something like that. Top tier. I mean, like, not only best in the era, maybe best in the last decade. You know, sets like those are probably investable. Maybe Destined Rivals could be that set that maybe you've invested into 3-pack blisters, sleeve blisters, and things like that, where in the long term it may pay out well. But at the moment, I'm just trying to point out these specific things. Those lower tier products usually are good investments for really top tier sets, and only those. All the other ones I would really stay away from. I think you could find many other sets that were in Sword and Shield that aren't really expensive when it comes to those 3-pack blisters and sleeve boosters, right? And for that reason alone, you can see that they're not worth the long-term hold, and so you would stay away from those, right? So now that I've really explained the basics and why booster boxes are the top tier product, just so that you can understand a little bit of it and don't just go into everything blind, we're going to talk about investing into booster box and a simple, I guess, tactic or strategy that you can use to start your booster box investing journey, right? So we're going to be talking about and looking into that one specific strategy for booster boxes only, right? And it's a very simple strategy that you can use over and over again, right? So of course, we're going to look into buying a booster box. Theoretically speaking, maybe you can buy one booster box at MSRP, which is $161. Sometimes, depending on where you are, whether it's a bear market or a bull market, you'll have opposite ends of the spectrum, right? There was a point in time where people were buying booster boxes for $90 a box, which is amazing. In this current hype period, you're seeing boxes out the gate at $300,
right? Maybe a little under $300, but it's somewhere around that range. Now, it isn't unrealistic for you to be able to buy the box at MSRP. There are many stores, specifically LGSs, that will sell boxes at MSRP during pre-order time, right? So you can take advantage of the LGSs. That's always the best way to go. Don't stick to just ordering things online. That's not always the best way. If you can get in touch with your LGSs and contact them and see if they do pre-orders, a lot of them do, especially the really good ones that really care about the community will do this, and you can buy them for MSRP, right? Also, take advantage of things like Best Buy and so forth. You might have to go to GameStop just to get them a little cheaper, right? But for theoretically speaking, we're going to start with the one booster box that you're going to obtain for $161, and you're also going to look into a second booster box that will also cost $161. And of course, for this, before you even start, you're going to want to save $350 just to cover tax and possibly shipping, depending on where you get your booster box from. So, of course, knowing this, you're going to save $350 or whatever the cost may be for 2 boxes, and then buy 2 boxes, specifically 2 boxes, right? Then, during this time that you're saving money, I don't know what your financial standpoint is. I don't know if you already have this money available. I don't know if you want to build up to this money. You should be informing yourself, right? We already spoke about a little bit about the basics when it comes to booster boxes and things like that, but there's always a step forward that you can go, right? There are always the best performing sets, but then you have to know why. Why are these sets so good? Why was Evolving Sky so good? Why is Destined Rival so good? There's a reason for it, right? There's nostalgia, right? There's also the Pokemons. There's a Pokemon in there. There's exclusivity, right? Booster boxes are already exclusive in their own right. They're already scarce. They start getting ripped right away. The moment they get released, that product starts just getting depleted. I promise you it does. Now the Pokemon in it is another very, very big thing. You should be looking into the best Pokemon out there. And what I mean by that is popularity. You can literally just go on your computer and look up which are the most popular Pokemon in existence. You'll see things like Umbreon, Gengar, Pikachu, Charizard, Rayquaza, many, many different Pokemon that people just absolutely love. Me, myself, I love myself Gengar. If you watch my channel, you know I love Gengar a lot. I like Dragonite a lot, even though it's not the most popular Pokemon. But you already see that Gengar, being one of my favorites, is literally one of the top tier Pokemon that are out there. So any set, almost basically any set with a Gengar special illustration rare or an alternate art like Fusion Strike are going to do amazing. So keep that in mind. This is where you inform yourself when you're looking for products that you want to invest into. You have to inform yourself, do the homework, right? Channels like mine will help, of course, but you should always go a step further and look into what may work for you, what may be better at the moment, because it is your money and you want to be as smart as possible with it. So now this is where things really, really start to work out for you, right? After a certain amount of time passes, right, and your booster box appreciates in value, right? When that time comes that the original cost that you had for that box doubles in price, you sell it, right? So theoretically speaking, we got these boxes for $161 each. One booster box number 1 doubled. You sell it off for $320, and now your cost basis is 0. You reduce your cost basis to 0. Now you've essentially had a box that feels like cost you nothing. You've made back the money that you spent for 2 boxes, and now you still have one asset at the value of double the cost of what you paid for the first time. So that's one strategy, one very, very simple strategy that many, many people like myself and others use, that you can use over and over again. You do this with one set or 1 box or 2 boxes, and you rinse and repeat. You go to your next one, rinse and repeat. You can do this with multiple boxes or multiple sets at a time if you have the money for it. Of course, everybody's financial situation is very different, as I said before. So you could do this with 4 sets across the board, right? You could do this with 1 set and buy 8 boxes, let the 4 double, move that money. Now you are at a 0 cost basis once again, and you're in a position where your assets have doubled in value, and you no longer have a cost basis for those boxes. You're not into them for anything. And that is an amazing feeling. That's where you want to be. It's a great way to invest into booster boxes in Pokemon. It's almost similar to like what people would say an infinite money glitch. It just keeps going. Booster boxes are always appreciating in value. They're the best ultimate products to invest into Pokemon. Of course, you're gonna see ebbs and flows, right? There's gonna be points where the box will spike, it'll dip, but then it'll eventually raise itself in value over and over again. You'll see many charts or graphs where booster boxes show that over a long period of time, they're the best products. They're the most insulated out there, and they hold their value more than any other Pokemon product out there. So well, guys, that'll be it for the video. I really hope that this helped. I really hope you guys found value here. I really just wanted to help a beginner out there, someone who may need some kind of guidance. And so for that, I made this video. I hope you guys found value here. Like I said before, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.